2 years passed quickly. On the Confederation capital world, the Council prepared for their return to Earth. They expected gratitude. They expected submission. They had seen it countless times before. The trading agreements are standard, Ambassador Dravek explained to the gathered commanders. We offer technological advancement in exchange for resource rights and labor. Most species are eager to sign. Commander Vex of the Carix military caste clicked his battle mandibles. And if they refuse? They won't, Dravek said confidently. Humans are still recovering from their latest internal conflicts. Their nations compete for resources. They will see our offer as salvation. Elder Niala sat silently at the edge of the chamber. No one noticed her small gesture of disagreement. The Confederation fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. 5 large ships, led by the Carix flagship Dominance. They expected to find Earth as they had left. Instead, they found something impossible. Captain, the sensor officer called to Alara Voss. I'm detecting artificial structures in orbit around Earth. Hundreds of them. Alara stared at the display. That's not possible. They didn't have this technology 2 years ago, but the evidence was clear. Earth was surrounded by a network of defense platforms. Simple by Confederation standards, but far beyond what humans should have been capable of building in such a short time. Scan their technology signature, she ordered. The officer worked. His controls then looked up in shock. Captain, these platforms contain elements of Confederation technology, modified but recognizable. Impossible, Commander Vex said, joining them on the bridge. We gave them nothing. No, Alara said slowly. We gave them something invaluable. We showed them what was possible. The communication system activated. A human face appeared on the main screen. Admiral Harrison, now wearing a uniform with additional rank insignia. Confederation vessels, this is Earth Defense Command. Welcome back to our solar system. We are prepared to discuss your previous proposals. Vex's mandibles clicked in agitation. They've prepared defenses. They expect to negotiate from a position of strength. Junior diplomat Thraz, now promoted to senior diplomat, stepped forward. Admiral Harrison, we are pleased to see Earth's progress. The Confederation looks forward to finalizing our agreements. Harrison's expression remained neutral. Our representatives will meet your delegation on neutral ground. We have prepared a station in orbit of our moon for this purpose. When the transmission ended, Vex turned to Dravek. This is unacceptable. They have stolen Confederation technology and built weapons with it. We don't know their weapons, Alara pointed out. They appear to be defensive platforms. Anything that can shield can also focus energy as a weapon, Vex said. The Carix understand this principle well. He turned to Dravek. We should show them their proper place. A demonstration of power. Dravek hesitated. The Council authorized negotiations, not military action. The Council expected a primitive species, not one with stolen technology, Vex countered. A minor demonstration, one of their cities. Minimal casualties, maximum psychological impact. Alara felt her stomach twist. Ambassador, I strongly advise against this course of action. But she could see in Dravek's eyes that he had already decided. Fear had overcome diplomacy. The unknown had triggered the Confederation's worst instincts. On Earth, Dr. Victoria Palmer stood in the underground command center beneath Chicago. Around her, engineers and scientists monitored the defense grid they had built using principles reverse-engineered from scans of the Confederation ships. They're moving, an operator announced. 3 smaller vessels have broken formation. They're approaching Earth. Palmer activated her communication link. Admiral Harrison, they've launched ships. This doesn't look like a diplomatic approach. On the lunar station, Harrison received the message as he prepared for negotiations. Understood. Activate Defense Protocol Delta and get Lieutenant Rodriguez to the prototype squadron immediately. The Carix attack vessels entered Earth's atmosphere with confidence. Their shields would protect them from any primitive human weapons. Their precision strike would disable Chicago's power and communication systems. creating panic but minimal casualties. A textbook demonstration of superior power. They didn't expect the energy pulse that hit their lead ship. What was that? The Carrick's commander demanded as his vessel shuddered. Unknown energy signature, his second reported. Our shields absorbed it, but at 60% capacity. Impossible. Their weapons are kinetic projectiles and chemical explosives. The second pulse hit. Shields dropped to 30%. In a hangar outside Chicago, Lieutenant Sofia Rodriguez climbed into the cockpit of her experimental fighter. The craft looked nothing like conventional Earth aircraft. Its design was influenced by the Confederation vessels they had scanned 2 years earlier. Phoenix Squadron, prepare for launch, she ordered the 5 pilots under her command. Remember your training. Their shields oscillate at predictable frequencies. Time your shots to match the downward phase. The Phoenix Squadron rose to meet the Carrick's vessels. Small, agile, and equipped with weapons the Carricks had never seen before. In the Confederation flagship, Ilara watched in horror as the small human vessels engaged the Carrick's attackers. They shouldn't be able to do this, Thraz whispered beside her. Their technology is too primitive. Not anymore, Ilara said. We showed them what was possible, and they learned. She turned to the communication officer. Contact Commander. Vex on the Dominance, tell him to recall his attack ships immediately. But it was too late. Lieutenant Rodriguez's fighter fired directly into the shield phase gap of the lead Carrick's vessel. The energy weapon pierced through, striking critical systems. The alien ship shuddered, then began to fall. Don't let it crash in the city, Rodriguez ordered her squadron. Use tractor beams to guide it to the lake. The 5 human fighters positioned themselves around the falling Carrick's vessel, using technology that shouldn't have existed on Earth to steer it away from Chicago's towers. The alien ship crashed into Lake Michigan, raising a massive plume of steam. The other 2 Carrick's vessels retreated to orbit, pursued by more human fighters launching from bases around the globe. On the Dominance, Commander Vex received the news of his attack squadron's failure with disbelief. This changes nothing, he insisted to Dravek and Ilara. We still have overwhelming force. We can still bring these humans to submission. You don't understand what just happened, Ilara said. They didn't just defend themselves. They knew exactly how our shields work. They targeted the phase variants. No species has ever discovered that weakness so quickly. In the Lunar Station meeting room, Admiral Harrison waited calmly as the Confederation delegation finally arrived. Thraz led them, his mandibles tight with tension. Your attack on our city was unprovoked, Harrison said without preamble. We were prepared to negotiate in good faith. A misunderstanding, Thraz said quickly. A patrol that ventured too close to your atmosphere. Harrison's expression showed he didn't believe this for a second. Let me be clear, Diplomat Thraz. Earth is not interested in becoming a client species or a source of labor for your Confederation. We are, however, open to fair trade between equals. Equals? One of the Carrick's delegates stepped forward. You are centuries behind us, are we? Harrison asked mildly. Your ships use a phase shield system with a predictable oscillation frequency. Your faster-than-light drives create a detectable distortion before they activate. Your translation technology is based on mathematical principles we decoded months ago. The aliens stared at him in shock. We learn quickly, Harrison continued. We adapt. It's what humans do best. Now, shall we discuss actual trade terms, or would your Confederation prefer a different kind of relationship with Earth? Back on the capital world, Elder Nyla received the disturbing reports from the Earth delegation. She wasn't surprised. She remembered the ancient tales, the warnings passed down through generations. They adapt, they survive, they are the children of adversity. No one had listened. Now they would learn the hard way what the elders had always known. Humans were invincible not because they couldn't be defeated, but because they refused to accept defeat. And that made all the difference in the galaxy. The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Starseeker. Captain Ilara Voss stood with her forearms clasped behind her back, all 3 of her eyes fixed on the blue-green planet below. Earth, the humans called it, a simple name for what appeared to be a simple world. "Captain, the scans are complete," said Officer Marek, his skin shifting from work blue to report green. "The atmosphere is highly toxic. Oxygen levels would burn most species' respiratory systems." Ilara nodded. "And yet they breathe it." "Not only breathe it, Captain, they evolved in it." Marek's voice carried the tone of scientific fascination. "Their bodies are mostly water, but they contain metals. Iron in their blood, calcium in their bones. Walking mineral deposits," Ilara said. She turned away from the viewport. "The mining. Guilds will be pleased." The Starseeker had been monitoring Earth for 3 cycles now. The Galactic Confederation had strict protocols for first contact. Study first, understand the species, assess their threat level and resource value. So far, humans seemed to present little threat. Their technology was primitive. They had barely reached their own moon. Their lifespans were short, under 100 cycles. Their bodies were fragile, lacking natural armor or backup organs. But something about them made Ilara uneasy. "They fight constantly," she said, more to herself than to Marek. "Against each other. Against their environment. Against diseases that should wipe them out. And they adapt quickly," Marek added. "Their technological progress in the last 100 cycles outpaces most species' advancement over thousands." The ship's communication system chimed. "Captain, incoming transmission from Confederation Command." Ilara sighed. "I'll take it in my quarters." Ambassador Zorn Dravek's face filled her screen. His mandibles clicked in the formal greeting of their species. "Captain Voss, your reports are most interesting. The Council has decided to proceed with diplomatic contact." Ilara felt her neck frills flatten with surprise. "So soon? We've barely completed preliminary studies. The resource potential is too valuable to delay. These humans have filled their planet with rare minerals and built convenient collection points they call cities." Dravek's mandibles clicked with amusement. "And their physical capabilities suggest they would make excellent labor stock for the mining operations in the Kepler system. With respect, Ambassador, I recommend caution. There's something unusual about these humans." "Your concerns are noted, Captain, but the decision is made. Prepare your first contact team. Junior Diplomat Thraz will lead the delegation." The transmission ended before Ilara could object further. 3 days later, the Confederation shuttle approached the orbital platform humans called the International Space Station. It was primitive but functional. Ilara had insisted on coming with the diplomatic team, despite Thraz's objection that her rank was too high for such a routine mission. "Remember," Thraz said to the delegation, "our appearance may frighten them. Their media suggests they expect aliens to look similar to themselves. Be gentle, be reassuring." The airlock cycled open. 2 humans waited on the other side. "Welcome to the International Space Station," said the taller one, a male with short gray hair and a blue uniform decorated with symbols of rank. "I'm Admiral Keith Harrison of the United States Space Force, and I'm Dr. Victoria Palmer, Chief Xenobiologist for the United Nations Space Division," said the female beside him. Her skin was darker, her hair black and curly. Ilara was surprised. The humans showed no fear, no shock at the appearance of 6-limbed aliens with translucent skin, or the insectoid form of Thraz. They seemed prepared. "We are honored by your welcome," Thraz said through the translation device. "I am Junior Diplomat Thraz of the Galactic Confederation." The meeting proceeded smoothly. Too smoothly, Ilara thought. The humans asked intelligent questions about the Confederation. They shared information about Earth freely. They seemed eager to learn, to connect. When Thraz mentioned the possibility of technological exchange, Harrison and Palmer exchanged a glance. "We would certainly be interested in learning from you," Palmer said carefully. "Earth has many nations, with different interests, but we all share a curiosity about the universe. The Confederation has much to offer," Thraz said. "Advanced propulsion systems, medical technology, energy production methods beyond your current understanding." "And what would the Confederation want in return?" Harrison asked, his voice neutral, but his eyes sharp. "Resource rights, perhaps. Access to some of your abundant minerals. Labor contracts for your people to work in our operations. The usual arrangements for new contact species. Alara watched the humans' reactions closely. Palmer's face remained pleasant, but her fingers tightened slightly on the tablet she held. Harrison's smile never wavered, but something changed in his posture. We'll need to bring these proposals to our governments, Harrison said. As Dr. Palmer mentioned, Earth doesn't have a single authority like your Confederation. Of course, Thraz said. We understand the need for consultation. After the meeting, as they returned to the Starseeker, Alara felt her unease grow. They accepted everything too easily, she told Thraz. No species reacts that calmly to first contact. They were clearly awed by our technology. Thraz dismissed her concern. And they understood their position immediately. They're a primitive species meeting an advanced galactic power. They know they need us. Unless they've seen aliens before, Alara suggested. Thraz laughed. Impossible. Their planet has been under observation. No Confederation vessel has made contact before us. The Confederation isn't the only power in the galaxy. Back on the Confederation capital world, Elder Nyala Kavath sat alone in her meditation chamber. The message from the reconnaissance fleet had disturbed her deeply. Earth, humans, names that echoed from the depths of memory, from stories passed down through generations of elders. When the council convened to hear Ambassador Dravik's report, she listened from her seat of honor, her ancient eyes narrowing as he displayed images of the humans. They are primitive but adaptable, Dravik was saying. Their planet is rich in resources. They will make an excellent addition to the Confederation, perhaps as a client species with development potential. Nyala rose slowly from her seat. The chamber fell silent. An elder rarely spoke in council. I have seen their kind before, she said, her voice carrying easily despite its softness. In the ancient wars before your civilizations were born, they are not what they appear. The council members shifted uncomfortably. The elders were respected, but their tales of ancient conflicts were considered little more than mythology. With respect, Elder Nyala, Dravik said, these humans have only just achieved spaceflight. They pose no threat to the Confederation. Nyala's gaze swept the chamber. You mistake their technological level for their potential. These creatures... She paused, searching for words. They adapt. They survive. They are the children of adversity. The council president nodded politely. Your wisdom is always valued. Elder, we will proceed with caution. But Nyala saw in their eyes that they did not believe. They would learn as others had before them, the hard way. Back on Earth, Admiral Harrison sat in a secure underground facility with representatives from 12 nations. They think we're primitive, he said. They think we'll be grateful for whatever scraps of technology they offer while they take our resources and our people. Their translation was perfect, Dr. Palmer added. Too perfect, they've been studying us for longer than they admitted. A general from China spoke up. How do we proceed? We cannot match their technology. Not yet, Harrison agreed. But we learn fast, and they've just shown us that faster-than-light travel is possible, that their weapons can be defended against. That's more than we knew yesterday. Palmer displayed images of the alien vessel. We have 2 years before they return, expecting an answer. 2 years to prepare. 2 years to show them that humans aren't what they appear to be. Around the table, heads nodded. For the first time in history, all of Earth's nations were united by a common purpose. The stars looked different from Earth now. They weren't just distant lights anymore. They were destinations and warnings. The months after the Chicago incident changed everything. On Earth, nations that had been enemies for generations now worked together with single-minded purpose. The United Nations Space Command formed under Admiral Harrison's leadership with research divisions headed by Dr. Palmer. In orbit, construction platforms expanded the defense network. On the ground, manufacturing facilities worked around the clock to build a fleet. The knowledge gained from the crashed Carrax vessel proved invaluable. It's not just their technology, Dr. Palmer explained to world leaders gathered in the underground command center. It's their arrogance. They document everything because they never expected us to read it. On screens around the room, translations of Confederation data files scrolled past, star charts, species databases, technical schematics, a galaxy of information. They see themselves as the dominant power, Admiral Harrison added. But the data shows many species under their control are dissatisfied, potential allies if we can reach them. A general from India spoke up, but we cannot reach them without faster ships. Not yet, Harrison agreed, but we're close. In the shipyards outside Houston, engineers and scientists worked on Earth's first true interstellar vessel. They called it the Defiance. Not as large as Confederation cruisers, but faster, more agile, and equipped with innovations the aliens had never seen. Captain Ryan Cooper watched as workers installed the final components of the faster-than-light drive. He had been a commercial airline pilot before first contact. Now he commanded humanity's greatest achievement. "Will it work?" he asked the chief engineer. "The physics is sound," the engineer replied. "We improved on their design. Our drive creates less spatial distortion, harder to detect, more efficient." Cooper nodded. "And if we encounter their ships? Then we'll find out if our weapons work as well as our shields did against them." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Confederation Council argued. The failed demonstration at Chicago had fractured their unity. Some species called for overwhelming force to subdue Earth before humans could further adapt their technology. Others urged caution and diplomatic solutions. "These humans have shown remarkable capacity for technological advancement," said a representative of the scientifically minded Tavraks. "We should study them, not attack them. Study them after they're brought to order," countered a Carrick's war leader. "Their rapid advancement makes them too dangerous to allow freedom." Ambassador Dravik looked troubled. "There are signs they're building ships. If they spread beyond their solar system, then we must act now," the Carricks insisted, "with the full might of the Confederation." While they debated, Elder Niala requested an audience with the Confederation Grand Council. Few were granted such honor, but the Elder's wisdom was respected even when it wasn't heeded. "You must understand," she told the assembled leaders, her ancient voice carrying easily through the vast chamber. "Humans evolved on a death world. Their bodies constantly regenerate, they breathe corrosive gas. Their microbiome would be considered a plague on most worlds." She paused, waiting for her words to sink in. "They survive conditions that would kill any of you, and their minds never stop finding solutions." The Grand Counselor leaned forward. "What do you suggest, Elder? Should we abandon contact? Leave them to develop in isolation?" "It is too late for that," Niala said. "You have shown yourselves. You have attacked them. They will not forget or forgive easily. I suggest you prepare for a different kind of relationship than you're accustomed to. Not masters and servants, but equals. Perhaps even learn from them." Her words were noted, filed, and largely ignored. The Confederation had existed for thousands of years without changing its approach to lesser species. They would not start now. 6 months after the Chicago incident, the Defiance prepared for its first flight beyond the solar system. Captain Cooper addressed his crew on the bridge. "Our mission is exploration and contact," he reminded them. "We seek allies, not conquests. Earth needs friends in the galaxy." Lieutenant Rodriguez, now promoted to flight commander, nodded from her station. "Where are we headed, Captain?" "The Threll system," Cooper replied. "According to Confederation data, they're a species with a long history of resistance. They might be receptive to an alternative to Confederation rule." The Defiance departed Earth orbit with little fanfare. Better to keep their first interstellar mission quiet. If they succeeded, there would be time for celebrations later. The faster-than-light journey lasted 3 days. When they emerged in the Threll system, sensors immediately detected Confederation mining operations on the third planet. "Keeping our distance," Rodriguez reported. "No sign they've detected us yet." "Open a secure channel to the planet," Cooper ordered. "Let's see if anyone answers." To their surprise, a response came quickly. The screen showed a thin, gray-skinned being with large, dark eyes. "Unknown vessel," the alien said in heavily accented but understandable English. "You are not Confederation. Identify." "I am Captain Ryan Cooper of the Earth ship Defiance. We come seeking friendship." The Threll's eyes widened. "Earth? The world that damaged a Carrick's warship?" "This news reached us even through Confederation censorship." "The same," Cooper confirmed. "We've learned much about the Confederation, and about species like yours that might prefer independence." The Threll looked around nervously. "The overseers monitor communications. We cannot speak freely." "We understand. Can we send representatives to meet in person?" The meeting took place in an abandoned mining tunnel. Cooper and Dr. Olivia Martinez, the ship's science officer, represented Earth. 3 Threll leaders met them, their gray skin dusty from the mines. "For 200 years we have mined Archilium for the Confederation," the eldest Threll explained. "Our world was once green and beautiful. Now it is scarred by their machines." Martinez nodded. "The Confederation approached Earth with similar intentions. We resisted." "But how?" another Threll asked. "Their technology, their weapons." "We learned," Cooper said simply. "We adapted their technology and improved it. We can help you do the same." The Threll exchanged glances. "Many have promised help against the Confederation. All have failed." Cooper removed a small device from his pocket and placed it on the ground between them. A holographic display appeared, showing technical schematics. "This is a shield generator," he explained. "Small, portable, and undetectable to Confederation scanners. It can protect a building, a village, even a small ship." The Threll stared in wonder. "We don't offer charity," Martinez added. "We propose alliance. Earth needs friends in the galaxy. The Threll need technology and training." The eldest Threll reached out slowly to touch the hologram. "What would you ask in return?" "Information," Cooper said, "about other worlds, other species who might join us, resources you can spare, and when the time comes, standing together against Confederation fleets." Hope appeared in the Threll's large eyes. "You believe you can truly challenge the Confederation?" Cooper smiled. "We don't just believe it, we're counting on it." 3 days later, the Defiance departed the Threll system with a treaty of alliance and 6 Threll scientists aboard. The first step in building what Cooper had already begun calling the Free Systems Alliance. On Earth, Admiral Harrison read Captain Cooper's report with satisfaction. The plan was working. While the Confederation debated, humanity acted. "We will need more ships," he told Dr. Palmer. "Many more." She nodded. "The next generation of drives is already in production. Each, one faster and more efficient than the last. And weapons? Based on principles the Confederation has never explored. They've been the dominant power for so long they've grown complacent. They stopped looking for new solutions." Harrison looked at the star chart on his wall, with potential ally systems, marked in green. "Humans never stop looking for new solutions," he said. "It's our greatest strength, and their greatest miscalculation." Across the galaxy, in her private chambers, Elder Nyala meditated. In her mind's eye, she saw the future unfolding. Change was coming to the Confederation, whether they wanted it or not. "The Undying Ones have returned," she whispered to herself. "And this time, they will remake the galaxy." The news of the Threll system victory spread faster than any Confederation sensors could contain it. Through hidden communication networks established by the Alliance, through trade ships and travelers, through defecting Confederation personnel, the message reached hundreds of worlds. The Confederation was not invincible. On the capital world, the Council faced its greatest crisis in thousands of years. Member species that had been loyal for generations now questioned everything. Some openly supported the rebellion. Others demanded reforms to the entire system. "We must strike at the source," Commander Vex insisted. "Earth is the heart of this rebellion. Remove it and the movement will collapse." The Grand Counselor looked troubled. "Reports indicate they have planetary defenses beyond anything we've encountered." The cost would be enormous. The cost of doing nothing is the end of the Confederation itself, Vex countered. After 3 days of debate, the decision was made. Every available ship was called to join the fleet. Retired vessels were recommissioned. Training exercises were cut short to rush cadets into service. The Confederation would throw everything it had at Earth in one massive assault. They believe numbers will overwhelm us, Admiral Harrison told the Combined Earth Defense Command. It's the same thinking that has failed them repeatedly, but they know no other way. The briefing room was filled with officers from across the planet and representatives from Alliance species. The tactical display showed the approaching Confederation fleet, over 200 vessels of various sizes, led by 3 massive dreadnoughts. Our advantage isn't in numbers, Harrison continued. It never has been. Our advantage is in innovation, in adaptation, and in something the Confederation still doesn't understand: unity of purpose. The plan was complex but elegant. Earth's fleet would not try to match the Confederation ship for ship. Instead, they would use every advantage they had developed over the past years: phase inverters to confuse enemy sensors, precision targeting to disable rather than destroy, and tactics no Confederation commander would expect. In orbit around Jupiter, Commander Rodriguez prepared her fighter squadrons. The small, agile craft were Earth's secret weapon, nearly invisible to Confederation sensors, with weapons that could penetrate their shields at specific frequencies. They'll focus on Earth's defensive grid, she told her pilots. They expect a direct confrontation. We'll hit them from directions they don't expect, at times they aren't prepared for. On the newly commissioned Liberty, Earth's first true battleship, Harrison coordinated the defense. Unlike Confederation vessels designed for impressive displays of power, the Liberty was built for function. Its bridge was buried deep within multiple protective layers. Its weapons were hidden until needed. Its entire design was based on a principle the Confederation had forgotten: survival first, dominance second. The Battle of Sol began when the Confederation fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. They expected to find Earth's defenses concentrated around the home planet. Instead, they found combat waiting for them immediately. Hidden platforms on distant moons activated, mines placed in strategic locations detonated. Confederation ships found their communications jammed, their sensors giving contradictory readings. They've scattered their defenses throughout the system, the Carrick's flagship's tactical officer reported with surprise. Our advanced scout ships are taking damage. Press forward, ordered the fleet commander. This is merely delay tactics. Their main force must be protecting Earth itself. The Confederation fleet pushed deeper into the solar system, adjusting to the harassment tactics. They passed Mars, destroying the minimal resistance they encountered. Their confidence grew as they approached Earth orbit. That's when the true trap was sprung. Earth's main fleet hadn't been hiding at all. They'd been waiting in plain sight, their ships disguised by phase inverters to appear as debris or small civilian vessels. When the Confederation fleet reached optimum position, Harrison gave the order: all ships, execute Operation Revelation. Across the solar system, Alliance vessels shimmered into view, not just human ships, but vessels from 24 formerly subjugated species who had joined what the humans called the Free Systems Alliance. Ships surrounded the Confederation fleet from all sides. Target their propulsion and weapon systems, Harrison ordered. Disable, don't destroy unless necessary. Commander Rodriguez led her fighter squadrons directly at the Carrick's flagship. Her pilots executed maneuvers that the Confederation's tactical computers deemed physically impossible. Their small craft slipped through gaps in the massive dreadnoughts, defenses striking with precision at key systems. Their shields are adapting, Rodriguez warned her squadron. Switch to frequency pattern Delta. The human weapons shifted to a new energy signature, one the Confederation shields hadn't encountered before. The attacks continued to penetrate. On the Carrick's flagship, chaos reigned. Systems failed across the ship. Damage reports flooded in faster than they could be processed. We need to withdraw and regroup, the second-in-command suggested. Never! The fleet commander shouted. We will not retreat from primitives. But his options were vanishing by the minute. The carefully organized Confederation formation had disintegrated into individual ships fighting for survival. Some vessel commanders, seeing the hopelessness of their position, had already surrendered. After 3 days of battle, the outcome was clear. The Confederation fleet that had arrived with overwhelming numbers was now largely disabled or captured. Only a small group of ships, including the damaged Carrick's flagship, managed to break free and retreat. As they fled the solar system, the Carrick's commander received a transmission from Admiral Harrison. "We don't want war," the human said simply. "We never did, but we will not be subjugated. Return to your council with this message. The time of the Confederation as you know it is over. A new era has begun." 2 months after the Battle of Sol, a Confederation diplomatic vessel arrived at the headquarters of the Free Systems Alliance, now established on a neutral world at the borders of former Confederation space. Their mission: negotiation, not conquest. In the Grand Meeting Hall, representatives from 23 formerly dominated species sat alongside humans as equals. Elder Nyala herself led the Confederation delegation. The Council had finally recognized the wisdom of listening to her. Dr. Palmer and Admiral Harrison represented Earth at the central table. Captain Cooper and Commander Rodriguez sat nearby, along with leaders from the Threll, Sorens, and other Alliance members. "I am old enough to remember the last time humans entered the galactic stage," Nyala said, her voice carrying the weight of millennia. "They disappeared for reasons lost to time, but their legacy remained in stories that became legend, then myth." Palmer listened intently as the elder continued. "We called them the Undying Ones, the species that could not be conquered, because they refused to accept defeat. Who taught others to do the same?" Nyala's ancient eyes met Palmer's. The elders warned them, but no one listened. Humans are not invincible because of their bodies or their technology. They are invincible because they believe the impossible is merely difficult, and they make others believe it too. The peace treaty that emerged from those talks transformed the galaxy. The Confederation would continue, but reformed into a true cooperative of equals rather than a hierarchy of masters and servants. Technology would be shared, not hoarded. Resources would be fairly traded, not extracted. Captain Cooper stood on the observation deck of the Defiance, watching ships from a dozen worlds move in formation with human vessels. Earth vessels no longer needed to disguise themselves or hide their capabilities. They had earned their place among the stars. "What happens now?" Rodriguez asked, joining him at the viewport. Cooper smiled. "Now, the real work begins. Exploration, not conquest. Learning, not taking. Building something better together." "Do you think the Confederation will honor the treaty?" she wondered. "Some will resist change," Cooper admitted, "but most have seen what the alternative brings. And those who haven't," he shrugged. "Earth will be watching." On Earth, children looked up at the night sky with new understanding. Those distant stars weren't just lights anymore. They were destinations. Places where human ingenuity and determination had already made a difference. In schools across the planet, students learned the lesson that had saved their world: never accept impossible as an answer. Find another way. Adapt. Survive. And help others do the same. The elders had warned them. Humans are invincible. Not because they cannot be defeated, but because they refuse to stay defeated. Now, at last, the galaxy understood, and it would never be the same again. 1 year after first contact, the galaxy was changing in ways the Confederation had never imagined possible. The Threll Rebellion began small, a few mining outposts refusing to send shipments, workers sabotaging equipment, communication jammers, blocking overseer signals. The Confederation sent security forces to restore order. They expected to find primitive resistance. Instead, they found organized fighters with unexpected weapons and tactics. "They fight like no species we've encountered," a Carrick's commander reported to the Council. "They use the environment against us. They strike and vanish. Our superior numbers mean nothing in the narrow tunnels they know so well." What the commander didn't say was where the Threll had learned these tactics, or who had provided their new shields and weapons. Captain Ryan Cooper, now promoted to fleet commander, stood on the observation deck of Earth's newest ship, the Alliance. Twice the size of the Defiance, it was the first warship built specifically for the growing conflict. 3 more like it neared completion in Earth's orbital shipyards. The Threll have secured their second major mining world, his communications officer reported. Confederation forces are withdrawing to their space station. Cooper nodded. Any casualties? Minimal. They used the tactics we taught them. Strike at supply lines, communication centers, and escape routes. The Confederation troops were isolated, then offered surrender terms. Dr. Olivia Martinez joined Cooper at the viewport. She had established the first joint human-alien research facility on Threll Prime, where scientists from both species combined their knowledge. The Confederation finally sent an official protest to Earth, she told him. They're demanding we stop interfering in internal matters of the Confederation. Cooper smiled slightly. What did Admiral Harrison say? He denied all knowledge of human involvement, then offered to mediate peace talks. The alliance was growing steadily. After the Threll, the reptilian Saurans had joined. Then the insectoid Vex, distant cousins of the Carax who had broken away centuries ago. Each brought new knowledge, new technology, new ways of thinking about the galaxy. On the Confederation capital world, the Council was in an uproar. Reports of rebellions spread across their territory. Minor uprisings had occurred before, but nothing like this coordinated wave of resistance. The humans are behind this, Commander Vex insisted. Our intelligence shows their ships visiting rebel worlds, their technology appearing in rebel hands. We have no proof, Ambassador Drevek argued, and direct confrontation with Earth could spark a wider conflict. This is already a wider conflict. Vex slammed his battle claw on the table. 3 major mining worlds lost, trade routes disrupted, member species questioning our leadership. The Grand Counselor raised a hand for silence. We must be strategic. Earth itself remains heavily defended. But these rebel worlds are vulnerable. Elder Nyla, who had been listening silently, finally spoke. You misunderstand what is happening, she said. This is not just about technology or tactics. The humans have given these species something far more dangerous. What? Demanded Vex. Hope? Nyla said simply. They have shown that the Confederation is not invincible. That resistance is possible. That change can come. The Council dismissed her words as usual. They preferred concrete solutions, more ships, more weapons, more forces to crush the rebellions. They authorized the largest fleet assembled in generations. 20 capital ships led by the newest Carax dreadnought, the Subjugator. Their mission, retake the rebel worlds, then move against Earth itself. In Dr. Palmer's laboratory deep beneath Chicago, a breakthrough was unfolding. She stood with Admiral Harrison, watching as technicians assembled a device unlike anything seen before. We call it the phase inverter, she explained. It doesn't just block Confederation scanning. It sends false readings. Their sensors will see what we want them to see. Harrison studied the device. How effective is it? In tests, it made a fully armed cruiser appear as empty space, or as a different ship entirely, or as 20 ships instead of 1. The Admiral smiled. Perfect for what's coming. Harrison had received intelligence about the Confederation fleet. Not from spies, but from allies within the Confederation itself. Species who had watched Earth's rise with interest rather than fear, who saw the Free Systems Alliance as a chance for change. They're coming with everything they have, he told the United Nations Security Council, not just to crush the rebellions, but to end Earth's influence permanently. A Chinese representative spoke. Can we withstand such a force? 5 years. Ago, no, Harrison admitted. 1 year ago, maybe. Today? He paused. Today we welcome the challenge. Earth's new defense grid extended throughout the solar system, hidden outposts on moons and asteroids, mobile platforms that could reposition, at need, phase inverters making small installations appear large, and large installations invisible, and ships, Dozens of ships, built with combined human ingenuity and alien knowledge. Not copies of Confederation vessels, but entirely new designs with capabilities the aliens had never seen. The Alliance led a squadron to the Threll system, where Cooper expected the first Confederation attack. They arrived to find the mining planet already under bombardment, Confederation forces on the surface. His tactical officer reported. 3 capital ships in orbit. They're targeting resistance strongholds. Send the signal to our forces on the ground, Cooper ordered. Activate Defense Protocol Sierra. On the planet below, human advisors worked with Threll fighters. When the signal came, they activated devices planted weeks earlier. Across the battlefield, Confederation weapons and communications suddenly failed. Shield generators protected, civilian shelters. Hidden weapon platforms revealed themselves. In orbit, the Alliance and its squadron appeared suddenly behind the Confederation ships, having used their advanced drives to approach undetected. Target their engines and weapon systems, Cooper ordered. Minimum casualties. I want those ships disabled, not destroyed. The battle lasted less than an hour. On the surface, Confederation ground forces found themselves cut off and surrounded. In orbit, 2 capital ships were disabled. The third escaped to warn the main fleet. At the Joint Research Facility, Dr. Martinez received the first Confederation prisoners, not to interrogate them, but to show them something. This is what we're fighting for, she explained, leading them through areas where Threll children played in gardens being restored on their once ravaged planet, where water filtration systems cleaned poisoned rivers, where medical facilities treated conditions caused by generations of mining work. The Confederation takes, she told them. We help rebuild, that's the difference. Some prisoners remained, hostile. Others watched with confusion, then interest. A few even asked to stay when prisoner exchanges were arranged. The main Confederation fleet arrived at the edge of the Threll system 2 days later. The subjugator led the formation, its massive weapons ready to end the rebellion with overwhelming force. Multiple targets detected, the Karix sensor officer reported. Rebel ships are scattered through the system. Divide our forces, the fleet commander ordered. Surround and destroy them group by group. As the Confederation ships separated to pursue targets, their sensors failed to detect the real threat. Human phase inverters had created phantom ships while hiding the true fleet. When the Confederation forces were fully committed to their pursuit, Cooper gave the order. All ships, execute maneuver Odysseus. The Alliance fleet materialized around the scattered Confederation ships, not to destroy them, but to isolate them, to demonstrate the new reality. On the subjugator's bridge, the Karix commander received reports of his ships being disabled one by one, not through superior firepower, but through precise strikes that targeted key systems, through electronic warfare that turned their own technology against them. Signal from the human flagship, his communications officer reported. Cooper's face appeared on the main screen. Confederation vessel, your fleet is disabled. You are outnumbered and outmatched. Power down your weapons and prepare for negotiations. Karix commander snarled. We do not negotiate with rebels. Then you will watch as your empire crumbles around you, Cooper replied calmly. Look at your long-range sensors. See what's happening across your territory. The tactical display showed impossible readings. Rebellions on dozens of worlds. Confederation outposts going dark. Trade routes disrupted by unknown ships. This isn't just about the Threll anymore, Cooper continued. This is about freedom for all species. The Confederation's days of domination are over. The message was broadcast to every Confederation ship in the system. Many crews, seeing their situation, chose to stand down. Some even declared support for the Alliance. Elder Nyla, who had demanded to join the fleet despite her age, watched from a Confederation observer ship. She felt no joy, only sad confirmation of what she had always known. The children of adversity, she murmured to herself. They make the impossible possible, and they teach others to do the same. The Battle of Threll marked the beginning of the end for the old Confederation. Not through destruction, but through choice. Through the power of a better alternative. And on Earth, Admiral Harrison began preparations for the final confrontation he knew would come. The battle for humanity's home itself.